Hey wood turners, I'm Captain Eddie Castle and welcome to my shop. One of the regular guys brought me over a dogwood crotch. He said, you have to turn this, you have to make this into something. So I looked at doing it with some negative space and all, but you know, this crotch is going to have a triple flame in the bottom of it. And I'll show you what I mean by triple flame because of the way the heartwood works out. And I think it's going to be a gorgeous piece. So I've decided I'm going to go for a platter or a bowl. First I got to spin it and shape it up. Now before I spin it and shape it up, because this is pretty irregular, and I would say 40-45 pounds, what I did was take my offset sander and I flattened a spot about center mass. Now in the old days I just put this between chucks and spin it a little bit. But muscling 40 pounds up and having a chance of it coming off and crunching the big toe or those little piggies next to it ain't the deal anymore. So I want to show you how I'm going to figure out where the center is to get a safer beginning when I start spinning. You ready? Take a watch. Now I think you're with me. Let me say, this is just a block. There's no magic to this. I just needed something good and heavy, and I got a 3/8 hole in it. Now in that 3/8 hole, I took a piece of 3/8 steel rod. This is just minor drill rod, a regular rod. It came from the hardware store. And I turned around, I put it in my drill chuck, my drill motor, and I sanded it until I got me a sharp point. Now, I have got the biggest note spike in the entire world. It's going to be my center finder. It's going to go down, it's hidden, you'll see it in a minute. Now I'm going to take this block and put it up there and see if I can determine the best center. I'm not going to juke it down on there hard, but this is going to help me figure out how much weight I have to offset. And when I get it to where it feels like it's going to be right, I'm just going to slap down on it, leave me a pretty good sized depression. And that depression is going to be where I'm going to center my chuck at before I get to spinning on this thing. Now if I was going to do a small faceplate to hold it, I'd use a centering jig and center the faceplate right there. And if I can find my centering jig, I'll show you what that's all about. But let's go for this. Now, looking at this, the great Garbanzo brothers here, that's pretty much center. I'm picking up a little bit of weight on this side. So with that, I'm going to walk it over just a fuzz. Yeah, that feels better. Do you know that would work a whole lot better if I got them all? But that's what I'm going for. Pick this up. Take a look at it. That's the mark I left right there. Oh, you don't have your glasses on, huh? Let's see if I can do this. First mark, second mark, sweet mark. That's the one I want. If I had them all, that'd be the sweetest. You with me already? You with me already? If you wonder what did that look like, this is it. It's just a block. It's a drop of Purple Heart. You don't have to use Purple Heart. Cocobolo is really good. When you get done, send it to me. I'll take it with a hole in it. And the pin just fits in there loose. That's it. Now a real high-tech way to do it is clamp this down to the ways or to your bench, and then when you're ready to lift up the pin and everything, and it'll be in that hole right there. That's the one I want. But this is going to get us close. That's closer than I would have gotten if I would have just dimensioned this thing. Now I'm dealing with real weight, not dimensions. The spur I'm going to use to get started is this one way. It's a 4-point spur, a 4-bladed spur with a loaded center pin, and it fits in the jaws very nicely, so I don't have to take a whole lot of parts off and everything. It just fits back in there. Tighten it up. Now, do I recommend this? Honestly, it wasn't worth the expense. I have other spurs I like. It was a gift and from a dear old friend, and I will use it. That's how I'm going to start. It's a good spur. If you don't have a good spur, get one, because if it fails, you make the paper. Years ago, I thought about putting a chain fall in, or a gantry, but I got talked out of it. Wish I hadn't, because every once in a while, doing this or doing a hat, I wish I had it. Where's Mongo? I got help coming. Ugh, Mongo good. All in all, it's fairly well balanced, and it's going to have a little jump to it. But my initial cuts are going to be to establish something I can put a faceplate on. So this is going to work. I've really got the tailstock up. A lot of pressure on it. Vibration's sake, we're going to tighten it down a little bit. I did a lot of test swinging to make sure everything clears. I went back and I checked the tightness on the chuck. If chuck ain't tight, you're in trouble. I've got the big cone on here because I want to get a deep pocket. Really a lot of grab. I got a lot of meat on this. I haven't turned dogwood before. Imagine it's very much like oak in that it's going to have a really good cambium layer. So we're going with this. I'm going to go ahead and take a heavy gouge, clean up these points, and set me a flat spot. Maybe set a few other spots, but it's really out. I'm not going to try to do way too much because it takes a lot of energy. Now, let me caution you a couple of things. That slow roll on that motor is extremely hard on any size motor. So if you're doing a slow roll like that, every 15 minutes or so, you need to take a break. Take a drink of water, sit down, but turn the lathe off. Let it cool down a little bit, especially that converter. Otherwise, it'll drop out and then you have to wait even longer. But take a break. That sucks the life out of a motor. Much more than high speed does. I'm going to shield up. Got my Ubix on. I'm going to go get my son of a gun and clean this because the last bowl was a little bit wet and it spit all over me. Ugh. Then we'll start again. Hey, I did say son of a gun. It sleeps outside most of the time, but that's the product. And it's endorsed by Richard Petty, who personally uses it on his sunglasses. I have a testimony, a written testimony to that fact. But this is a plastic protectant. I found it at Ace Hardware store and Kmart, just so it's still out there. And I think some of the auto centers have it too. But it does a couple of things. It'll clean up the plastic. It'll put a little bit of a protectant on it, keeps it from fogging up, and actually makes you look better. It doesn't say that on the container, but it does. Had that comment. Son of a gun. You didn't say anything. I got new glasses. You didn't say a word. Where are those? I'm going with the... Whew, it's loud in there. I'm going with the modified version of an Ellsworth gouge. This is the Jerry Glazer limited edition for American Association of Wood Turners, AAW. It's numbered and all that stuff. All those things didn't help it turn wood. It's just got a good sharp edge. Let's go! How can you see from over there? Hopefully that's better. I'm not worried about getting a bevel. I'm just worried about getting this junk out the way. It'll be a little while before I can get a bevel. What I mean by it is before I can make it rub. Then I'll get out here someplace and find me a spot and I'll make it rub. Because it's such a big piece of wood spinning, it's messing up my focus. Yeah, I picked up my carbide. And what I found on it was the 18 millimeter. So I decided, let's stick with this and see what happens. I'm going to snuggle up a little bit here. And a test run. Make sure it's clear. Set the tool rest. Check it again. See the socket right here? I've been careful about it because I've got my center in there. But I want to put a faceplate on. That won't hurt me when I'm ready to mount my faceplate, if it's the right size. So this is my adapter, same size as my faceplate, just a measuring device, and it was easier to pick up. And that's going to be the size of the thread I want to go in here. And I'm going to go over here and say, I am now about a quarter too big. So I'm going to gently take a 1/4 inch off of this and leave that alone. And when I put my faceplate on, it's going to fall directly over the top of it. Easy for me to center up. We're all into doing it easy. We are now ready to put our faceplate on. I took it off the lathe and I made this tenon a little bit tight. Tendon, whatever. A little bit tight, mainly because I measured the wrong insert. I should have just measured the faceplate and gotten done with it. Alright, now we're going to put it over this and put it down. That receiving spot that I had right here, this can be slightly concave right here. It cannot be hilled. You don't want rock. You want this to bear at the outside edges, not the inside edges. Now, another thing. I don't think I preach to you. I hope it never comes across that way. But let me ask a favor of you. If you are currently using drywall screws or deck screws to hold pieces on a lathe, today. Throw them away. Pass. You don't want to do that. You just don't. They are brittle. They are made to be brittle. So they are brittle. They will crack. You will never know they'll crack. Your family can use it in your obit, but you will never know they'll crack. This is a cadmium plated screw. It's square drive. See if you can see that. It's a square drive. I'm going to use a Hitachi drill motor. No, I'm sorry, Makita. And with the square drive screw, I'm going to spot them and then I'll come back and tighten them up. I normally start with one, and it's like tightening an old tire. You know, you don't want to go all the way around. You want to make sure you balance it out. A little snug here, little snug here, little snug here. Now, I figure this piece weighs about 60 pounds. So, if I would think that one of those screws could hold a 6-pound piece spinning at 1,000 RPMs, then I need 6. But I don't think that's true. So I think I now need 12, which means I'll fill the whole outside ring. It only takes a minute more to put them in, and a minute more to take them out. And it's on the top of the bowl, and it won't matter anyway. So put them in. Don't want to hear that you got hurt because a drywall screw cracked. I work for the largest architectural firm in the state of Louisiana, and we do a lot of work. And I go on construction sites daily and find that people believe a drywall screw can hold anything and everything because it's easy to drive, easy to find, and if you do it right, they'll suck themselves right into wood. What they don't know is, or they don't care, they will crack. And in certain kinds of woods, there's a lot of corrosion sets up. The tannic acids in oak will leave blotches and stains. So don't take the chance. Don't take the risk. Go get you some good screws and throw those things away. Now, I'm done lecturing. We don't need to talk about this again, right? Okay. And before you ask, this is the original square. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. Sometime during this procedure, I realized I was going to run out of room on the 20 minutes I'm allowed on YouTube. So I shut it down and pick it back up again on part number 2. We're turning a dogwood crotch into a bowl. We're going to leave some bark on it for accent. At least it looks that way right now, because I don't want to give up 1.5 inches of bowl blank. I really don't. This is a beautiful piece of wood, and I'm going to keep it damp. All you got to do is return here when I go back to making shavings. I'm Captain Eddie. I'm waiting for you. All right, I'm going to be right here. You believe that? Right here.